if you are saving your Astrite for the 3.5 banners, you need to stop and look at Sui right now. We finally have the full, unfiltered kit breakdown for Wuthering Waves' newest 5-star Glacio support, and her numbers are completely rewriting the Havoc and negative status meta. Today we are breaking down her dual stance mechanics, her insane energy regeneration scaling, and exactly how her cheat death passive power creeps existing sustain units. I will give you the honest, definitive verdict at the end on whether she is a mandatory pull for your account or just a luxury trap that will ruin your echo farming, so stick around. Save up to 24% on your top-ups using Loot Bar. It's a solid way to save money. For example, the 6,480 Lunites pack costs around $76 on Loot Bar compared to $100 in-game. The top-up process is very straightforward. Just pick your pack, log in through their single-use cloud device, redeem it in-game exactly like the official store, and then log out. Loot Bar is widely used and has tens of thousands of reviews on Trustpilot, making it one of the most trusted platforms for in-game top-ups. Link to Loot Bar is in the description. To be completely transparent, this next part is pure leak territory. Everything we are looking at today comes from leaked beta data, so while we have the full kit, Kuro Games has not officially locked this in. Multipliers, energy caps, and synergy thresholds are still actively shifting before her release. Take the exact percentages with a grain of salt, but the core mechanical skeleton is what we are analyzing today. Let us get straight into the mechanical breakdown, starting with her core gameplay loop. Sui does not play like a traditional quick swap support. Her entire kit revolves around building two distinct resources called Stillness and Floral Epistle, which dictate her shifting between two completely different states known as Cleansing and Cleansing Rain. In her baseline cleansing state, she fights using standard basic attacks dealing Glacio damage to build up her first gauge, Stillness, which caps out at exactly 120 points. You build this through her 4-hit basic attack combo, where the final hit applies Glacio Chafe alongside her mid-air plunging strikes and counterattacks. What you need to understand here is that her counter actually lets her continue her combo smoothly instead of resetting the string, which is crucial for maintaining your damage per second uptime. Stillness is not just a generic resource bar, it is a hard lock on her enhanced state. Once you hit that 120-point cap, her resonant skill fundamentally changes. Instead of a standard forward strike, casting it triggers a move called Awakening Spring. This immediately consumes all 120 points of Stillness, deals a burst of Glacio damage, applies Glacio Chafe, and forces her transition into the Cleansing Rain state. This is the massive turning point for your rotation. Awakening Spring grants nearby teammates a buff state called Enrichment, which acts as the trigger for her healing effects later. But more importantly for your rotation timing, activating this skill instantly restores 20 Concerto energy and 13 Resonance energy. On top of that battery effect, she gains a frankly absurd self-buff of 50% critical rate and 240% Glacio damage bonus for a temporary window, tied to a 25-second cooldown. Before we look at how her second stance completely changes her normal attacks, I want to do something special for the community. We are rapidly approaching a major milestone, and the moment we hit 300 subscribers on the channel, I am giving away a full Lunite subscription to one of you. To enter, all you need to do is smash the like button, make sure you are subscribed, and drop a comment below with your in-game UID along with the answer to this question. Exactly which main DPS character are you planning to pair her with, and does her high field time requirement fit into your current rotation setup? I will be picking the winner directly from the comments once we clear that 300 subscriber mark, so get your answers and UIDs locked in down below. Now, once she crosses into that Cleansing Rain state, her entire playstyle completely flips. Her attack speed ramps up, she becomes heavily support-focused, and you start building her second resource, the Floral Epistle. Just like Stillness, Floral Epistle also caps at exactly 120 points. You generate this through her new enhanced attack strings, heavy attacks, and precise dodges. In this state, her 4-hit basic combo continues to deal Glacio damage, and that critical final hit keeps applying Glacio Chafe, ensuring your status application never drops off. What raises her skill ceiling is her realization dodge mechanic. If you dodge in her base cleansing form, you restore Stillness, but perfectly timing a dodge while in Cleansing Rain restores Floral Epistle and actually allows you to seamlessly continue your combo strings without dropping your multiplier. She heavily rewards mechanical precision over button mashing. Now we move into her ultimate team utility, which is entirely locked behind her Resonance Liberation. Casting this creates a massive field called Ceaseless Landscape that stays on the field for an incredible 25 seconds. Inside this field, the maximum stack limits for negative status effects like Glacio Chafe, Spectrofrazzle, Fusion Burst, Arrow Erosion, and Electroflare are all increased by 3 for a short duration. If you are running teams built around heavy status stacking, she instantly elevates their damage ceiling. But the real reason everyone is losing their minds over this liberation is the Havoc synergy. If you are fighting enemies affected by Havoc Bane, your allies immediately gain 6% Defense Ignore and 12% Havoc Resistance Shred for 15 seconds. Defense Ignore is the rarest and most valuable multiplier in the game, and this single passive instantly cements her as the ultimate premier support for Havoc-focused main carries, entirely separate from her own personal damage. But Sui Sui isn't a buffer. Her sustain tools are genuinely broken. Remember that enrichment buff she applies? When allies receive it, they gain a stacking periodic heal called Spring's Birth. This healing effect scales entirely off Sui Sui's maximum HP, triggers every 2 seconds while consuming stacks, and most importantly, stays active even after you switch that character off the field. It is incredibly consistent for drawn-out Tower of Adversity runs. However, her true value comes from her safety net passive. If an ally takes a fatal hit that would normally knock them out, they are instead prevented from dying and instantly recover 50% of Sui Sui's current HP. In exchange, Sui Sui loses that exact same amount of health, though the passive physically cannot drop her below 1 HP. Even with a long cooldown, this is a free cheat death mechanic that completely forgives a missed dodge against highly lethal hologram bosses. Let us break down her outro skill, because this is where the strict stat requirements come into play. Her baseline outro grants all teammates a massive 25% all damage amplification for 30 seconds. But the real scaling depends entirely on how much floral epistle you generated before swapping. At higher thresholds, you start funneling extra interruption resistance, boosted incoming healing, and flat attack bonuses to your team. If you hit the 400 floral epistle mark, your allies gain a scaling damage buff based specifically on Sui Sui's energy regeneration stat. If you manage to max out at 600 Floral Epistle, that buff evolves, granting your team up to a 50% bonus to their attack, scaling directly off however much energy regeneration she has over a 200% threshold. This hardlocks her build. Energy regeneration is no longer just a quality of life stat for her. It is her primary offensive multiplier. This is exactly why her signature weapon is designed the way it is. It boasts a low 412 base attack, but packs a massive 77% energy regeneration substat, pushing you immediately toward that 200% threshold. The weapon also boosts her maximum HP by 12% for her healing scaling, and using her liberation will actively restore concerto energy every 20 seconds to keep your rotation tight. On top of that, casting her intro or resonance skill triggers the Kingfisher buff. If Sui Sui is actively on the field, Kingfisher boosts ally attack by 20%, but when she rotates off the field, it triggers secondary effects tied directly to her healing and Glacio Chafe application. Looking quickly at her resonance chains, the scaling gets even more ridiculous. Her first sequence simply extends her field duration for better uptime, but her second sequence is an absolute game changer, granting any teammate standing inside her field up to a 40% all-attribute damage bonus. That is easily one of the most overpowered support modifiers currently in the game. Her third sequence smooths out her floral epistle resource generation. Her fourth pumps her healing output by a flat 50%. Her fifth straight up doubles the damage scaling of her cleansing rain attacks. And her final sixth sequence injects a massive critical damage steroid into her key abilities, entirely blurring the line between a dedicated support and a sub-DPS. Here is the honest value caveat and the realistic downside you need to hear before you pull. Sui Sui is an incredibly powerful unit, but she is heavily restrictive. She demands a massive amount of field time to properly build up 2 separate 120-point gauges before you can optimally trigger her maximum outro buffs. Furthermore, because her absolute best team buffs are mathematically locked behind hitting over 200% energy regeneration, your echo farming is going to be an absolute nightmare unless you pull her signature weapon. If you are not running a Havoc team to utilize her resistance shred, or if your main DPS requires strict, incredibly short rotation windows, Sui Sui is going to disrupt your flow. She is a luxury pull designed specifically to elevate Havoc carries and high-skill dual carry compositions. So, here is the final verdict. If you are maining a Havoc damage dealer and you are willing to invest the field time to master her dual stance realization dodges, she is going to be best in slot and you absolutely need to pull. If you prefer brain-dead, 2-second quick swap supports, you should save your Astrite. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the finalized Wuthering Waves numbers when they drop. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.